to the Making Up the Numbers podcast. The Making Up the Numbers podcast is sponsored by Hope Technology, J-Tech Suspension, Revolution Bike Park, Ride Southern Spain, Schwal, and the world's finest independent mountain bike magazine, Singletrack.
Hello and welcome to episode 10 of season 3 of the pod. It's been a busy couple of months since the end of the season, but hopefully between now and the end of the year, we can get through some of the podcasts we've promised because there's a lot stacking up. Jack, I think when we left off at the end of the last episode, you were heading over to Casus for the third National of the Year. That was a cracking weekend, wasn't it? I think you ended up third.
Yeah, it was, mate. And obviously I've had a tough season, and coming back from the US doing those 2 World Cups with my broken hand, it was nice to go to Casus and ride a short track in good weather. And I wasn't expecting to get a podium, and came third in some good company and give Dan a pasting, which he was due. So, yeah, it was a nice weekend for me and a nice way to wrap up a very difficult season.
Well, I know in the UK we're not blessed with the biggest hills, but I prefer it when the race organisers don't try and drag it out just to make the track last longer. I know it was only a 90-second track for you, a bit longer for me, but it was flat out from top to bottom, and that delivers some super tight racing. What's your thoughts on that? Do you agree, or would you prefer them to have dragged it out a bit?
No, I'd much rather them go for quality rather than quantity. Yeah, it was a sick track. It was more like a sector at a World Cup, but who cares? Yeah, so fun. The uplift was good. Mark delivered a really good event. Obviously, the National Series has been under quite a lot of scrutiny over the last few years, and I still think they've got a long way to go. Stiniog was a joke. So yeah, there were a lot of things that weekend that I personally was very unhappy with as a rider and as a team manager. But Casus, they nailed it. And yeah, great track, good weather, well organised. So yeah, don't drag it out. Just give us what we want.
Cool. Well, from there you went up to Innes for the EWS, which looked pretty horrific. I think you ended up 54th.
Yeah, Innes was just rain for 4 days. It was so cold. But I mean, I had a good weekend. I was there with Dan, and more importantly, I was there with my mate Rob Young. Shout out to Rob. I've raced with Rob since 2007, and he now just does a bit of this and a bit of that. And for the last few years, he's been doing enduro, and it was his second EWS. But he's basically an Innerleithen local, even though he lives in Leeds. He goes there all the time. Yeah. So me and him, we'd kind of been doing a lot of trash talk against each other in the run up to the event, and everybody kind of thought he was going to give me a pasting, and I knew I had no chance if he stayed on, but Rob loves crashing, so he crashed his way through the first 2 or 3 stages, and I think I had an 8-second lead on him, and then we went into the last stage. I think it was 0.7 apart. It was ridiculous how we kind of got to that stage so close. But that last stage was the stage on the downhill side that was the pro stage. And I give him a pasting on there. So he was 58th and I was 54th. So we had a good weekend having a bit of banter. But I mean, those races are so hard. We're going to be staying clear of them next year and focusing on the downhills and some mega avalanche racing.
Yeah, I mean, we'd done Casus probably the week before, and it was like belting sunshine and dust. Yeah. And then I looked at, I was just like, I didn't want to go in as there was no envy there that weekend.
No, if I wasn't having that banter with Rob, there's absolutely no way I would have left my house.
Give us your opinion on the Richie Rude disqualification then. Should he have been disqualified?
It's a tricky one. I think in the circumstances, maybe a disqualification was a little bit... I think the disqualification was the correct move, but I also think for the fans and for the racing element, I think a 5-10 second penalty or whatever would have been a little bit more appropriate, so that then him and Jack could have had a bit of a race. Maybe Jack would have preferred that as well. Who knows? I mean, I looked at that from both a rider perspective and a team manager perspective when I walked it, and I thought, what are these ski poles doing here? Yeah. Do I need to go through them? And I looked and I was like, well, yeah, of course I need to go through them. Otherwise they wouldn't be there. So that was the decision I made as a rider. I then, as a team manager, went to Dan and said, just so you know, make sure you go through those daft ski things that they've put there in between the tape. So I did my job as a team manager. When it happened, I was just bemused by the fact that Yeti as a team didn't communicate to their riders, just so you guys are aware, go through those things. Like, I don't personally believe Richie was directly trying to cheat, because it was in front of everyone. It was in front of the commentator, it was in front of the race officials, and it was in front of a crowd. So I don't believe he was actually trying to cheat. I think he just thought that he could stay between the tape. So personally, I think it was a race organizer error, not putting tape between those things, and a team manager error from Yeti's point of view, because as a rider, you're just racing. And it should have been the team manager's job there to say to his riders, guys, just go through those. So I think, it was just one of the things. It shouldn't have been allowed to happen.
No, they should have. It was a bit weird. They could have just taped to the poles, so you didn't.
Just don't put them there. We're not skiing.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a bit like we've had the Formula One this weekend, and those guys have tried to encourage the race and not stuck to the rules, and then they've had an amazingly, final lap. Yeah. But they stuck to the rules and ruined the race, really, didn't they? So Jack just took it. So yeah. From there onto you've just talked about Anta, final race of the season. Your boy took the win. The only person to go under 2:25 all weekend. Speed took him down the final straight. He must be pumped.
Yeah, he was pleased. I was pleased with, as I say, the event was a joke. And then I snapped my chain out the start gate in the finals run. And then all of a sudden Dan came down and won. And that was just meant, like, it kind of saved the weekend for us, really. It was absolutely ace to see him take his first national win. So yeah, he was pleased. We were pleased. It was great.
Now, I assured you it was a good track.
The track was all right. The track wasn't too bad. It was the way the event was organised, and I had a few problems with some marshals and some commissaires. And I just think, obviously, I race all over the world, have done for a very long time. And when I come home and go to British events, quite a lot of the time, there's a lot of things that, in my opinion, are just comical. And I haven't even found it within myself yet to go back to British cycling and give them feedback on the event, because it's just stuff that's so obvious. Like, it's not happening in lots of other countries. It's not happening at World Cups. So why are we getting marshals with attitude problems and commissaires with attitude problems, and so much lack of continuity throughout the event? So yeah, I'll digress. But yeah, I thought the track was pretty good.
Well, I think next season we've still got several race organisers. Do you think it'd be better than if there was a consistent one team doing the whole series?
In my opinion, the problem is there's too much bullshit in this country for the race organisers to deal with, and too many health and safety hoops, and too many different people with opinions, and too many people with clipboards. So yeah, I think it's going to be very difficult for them to sort out and make it so they are delivering a series that is what should be an entry-level series to World Cup racing, which at the moment it just isn't. It's comical when you compare it to other national series races in other countries. But yeah, I mean, they need to get it sorted, because through my Gravity School, I'm seeing so much excitement and so much talent coming through in terms of downhill and young riders in this country, and they need a good series to be racing in. And at the moment, it is not happening, and British cycling and the event organisers need to sort it out. The venues for 2022 look good, with Rayola, Fort William, Llangollen, Revs. That's 4 good long tracks, and then Glencoe's national champs. They've got the venues to be able to deliver that, so they need to sort themselves out. I'm excited to see Cy Payton come back and deliver Llangollen, and hopefully do a really good job and set the benchmark for the other organisers to aim for again. So yeah, it's very frustrating.
Excellent. So I try not to talk about my own performance, because generally the less said the better. But this race was massive for me, because I finally beat my teammate Binzi. We've been racing together since 2013, 40 races before this one, and I'd never beaten him. He's never crashed, never had a mechanical in all that time. It's incredible, that, really, when you think about it, innit? 40 races, no mechanicals, no crashes.
There you go. Yeah, congrats to Binzi on that one, and also congrats to yourself. Like that's That's a big
I've been getting closer. Praloop was the closest I've been, and then boom, he binned it on the shoot at Anta, and I took the spoils. But I've been at Revs with him since though, and he's already been out and bought a session, so I think he's pretty fired up for next season and ready to go.
Nice.
So since then, you've had a week sunning yourself in Cape Verde, and then back out to Reunion Island for the Mega. It's a tough life being a professional sportsman, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, mate, I'm exhausted, eh?
Tell us a bit about the Mega then.
Yeah, Cape Verde was a week with the wife. First trip we've had away since before COVID, so that was quite nice. And then the Mega was a bit of a nice surprise. It turns out if you podium at the Mega in Alpe d'Huez, they give you your flight to Reunion. But because of COVID, they didn't tell us that this year because they obviously didn't know if they were going to have it. So I had no idea, and I got an email about 4 weeks before the event asking, if I wanted to go, and they'd pay for the flight. So I spoke with SR Sun Tour, and they said, go out and represent and film a vlog and do the event. So went out, and what a place. Shout out to Flo Pay, who helped us out. He lives there, and we did some riding with him, and it's just amazing. It was it's a kind of a tropical island, so on the beach you've got 30 degrees and sun, but all you have to do is go 2 miles inland and you get a bit of cloud, and the mountains go straight up. So it was up in the morning for an hour and 20-minute drive up the mountain, and then a 2-hour ride, sometimes longer if we did more than one lap, and then we'd be on the beach by lunchtime. So it was one of my favorite ever races.
I can see why. I can see why. Yeah,
one with a hell of a suntan, and the race was tough. Like, I'd recommend the event to anyone, but just be aware it's more like a cross country race. There was so much pedaling, but I did enjoy it, and I was surprised to come 8th, especially from the 4th row, because I had a puncture in my qualifying. So I was really pleased to get a top 10 and round out the season. So it was good.
Cool. So that's the 2020 race season wrapped up. We'll be back with world champ silver medalist and the 2020 and 2021 French national downhill champion, Benoît Coulanges, after these messages. Benoît Coulanges, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. First time in a podcast, so I'm a little bit afraid, but I'm here, so let's go.
Cool. Well, where in the world are you right now?
I'm I live in France, and I'm close to Lyon, 30 minutes from Lyon. We have small mountain, they call it Mont Lyonnais, and I'm in this whole zone, so pretty good for doing some mountain biking in the winter.
Yeah, cool. And you were just saying you've just had your first bit of snow?
Yeah, last week we have like few days we have some snow, but no, it's okay, so
cool. Cool. So I think I said in one of the messages to you that your story is perhaps the most interesting of all. And the reason for that is that riders generally come into elite and they find their level pretty quickly. You started riding World Cups in 2012. And in my head, I'd put you in the same category as Jack. And I hope Jack doesn't mind me saying this, but like a solid top 30 rider. There were results that were better than that. You had a 15th at Fort William in 2015, a 13th at Val Nord in 2017, and 11th at Val di Sole in 2018, to name a few. But there were also results that went the other way. And it stayed like that for 6 seasons. Did you feel like you'd found your level, that's where you were, a solid top 30 rider?
I think for most of the people who didn't know me and didn't know my history, when you look the results, it's look like my maximum level. But for me, I wasn't believe at this time it was my maximum level, because most of the young rider or the good rider now starting big team like sometime before to be junior, and me I just start my to racing local race in junior. Like second year in junior I did some French Cup, one World Cup, and after I did my two first year in elite, I was at school. So I did like maybe 7 World Cup in 2 years. So, when I was in the 3rd year elite, most of the rider are like maybe 4 years of full racing Me, I was just like 7 World Cups, so it's pretty much one season.
Yeah.
So for me, my real career started there. I wasn't in a big team. I was in a small team. It was the same like today, the same team, but it was the start. Claude Pierre, my team manager, did this team for helping some rider around his city. And we are pretty much a group of young riders who want to do the quali done and go in the final. And it was more a group of privateers, little bit organized than a team at the beginning.
Cool.
So every year I had some more experience, and I think I was in the top 13 really fast. 30, sorry. And but I was believe I can do better. We have not the best bike at the moment, not the best team. We learn everyone some skills every race. I have some mechanical problem. And in 2018, I really start to have a good result in top 20, but I had a lot of problem, mechanicals or crash, and we start. I think we finish the partnership with Nikolai in 2017. And in 2018, we didn't have any frame sponsor. So we rode in Saracen, but the bike didn't fit with me.
Right.
And I changed during the season the bike with the Commensal because the 3 first World Cup didn't work for me. So I changed and I did my first pretty much top 10. I was 11 in Val d'Isole.
Yeah.
But this year, pretty much at every race, I had a problem. Like in Val d'Isole, I have my shocks. The rebound was full open during my run. After that, we have Valnor. I was riding on my rim during my quali run because I moved from 27 to 29 when I changed my bike, and we didn't know, but the downhill tire have some problem with tubeless in 29, and we didn't know. So the tire going off the rim for nothing, like it was pretty frustrating, but we didn't know at this time. And this year it was pretty difficult for that, but I really believe I can do some top 10 for sure. So
never stop believing.
Yeah.
But when you don't know my story, it looks like this, like top 30 is my maximum level at this time, for sure.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear that, because obviously I've raced you since you started your career, and obviously for a time we had some similar sponsors, so I knew you very well for a number of years, and even knowing you on the racing circuit, I didn't know most of that story, and even to me it was like, whoa, where did Benoît come from? And then listening to you explain your path and the route you've had, it now makes a lot more sense. So it's really interesting to hear all that and kind of hear the journey from your perspective. So moving on from where you just took us to, 2019, you had a great start to the season, fantastic second place at European Championships in Portugal, and then you had a big crash at Fort William, resulting in a bad knee injury. Did you write the rest of that season off?
It was a difficult year because after 2018, I was really thinking I can do better. Team is bigger every year, better component, more experience. But I had ankle injured during the winter, So I come to the first World Cup pretty much in prepare. Like physically, it was really hard. European Championship was not bad because the track was less physical, so maybe I was able to do good riding. And for William, I had a puncture during the quali. I was riding down, and on the last jump, the rear wheel blocked in my frame, I think, with the tire puncture, and I go over the bar. It was a small crash, but I don't know, in the air during the crash, my knee turned with the bike, and so it was like 2 months off the bike pretty much during the season. So I was riding at the end of the season, but I was pretty slow. It was hard for me because it was my first summer in Morzine. So before the World Cup, when I come back, I think I did like 10 days on the downhill bike, but I was feeling really good. You know, when you try to push hard, you always feel fast, and because it's your maximum at this moment, so you always feel fast. But when I come to the first World Cup after my injury, I did some training, and I think at the end of the training, I asked Baptiste Piron, who was in my team, in the first year in my team, if I can follow Baptiste, and say yeah. And after 3 corners, I didn't see Baptiste anymore. So my mental at this time, it was so hard because I was really thinking I was ready, but not at all.
Welcome to my world, Benoît.
I didn't do the quali in the top 60. It was hard for my man because the year before I was 11, so you know it's always hard when you did good in the past and you can do the same. So pretty much the last 3 World Cup, it was not really good result, but I was pretty motivated for the off-season, for sure.
Yeah, I can relate to that from this year, that's for sure, when fast feels fast, but it's not fast.
Yeah.
So talk us through what happened in the excuse me, I'll start again. So talk us through what happened in the off season between 2019 and 2020, because I can't recall ever seeing a rider's results change so much. 2020, you took your first French Cup win in Les Deux Alpes, and I can add in there the weekend before that we were racing in Alpe d'Huez, and I remember me and Benoît had, I think, 8th and 9th top splits together, and then Benoît took 5 seconds out of me at the bottom. And I actually remember speaking to Gaetan about his bottom split. I think it was Gaetan, because you took 5 seconds out of me and I'd ridden pretty well. And normally we'd, fairly rub shoulders, and I was like, there's something wrong with the timing. And then the week after you went, and as I say, you won Les Deux Alpes, and then you were on the box every other round. You were then French national champion ahead of Loic and Loris. So I was like, oh, fair enough. I think you just smoked me. Something's changing. And then this was all before the World Cups even started. So give us a talk through your preparation for that 2020 season.
Yeah. When a rider, I really think when a rider, my internet connection is not stable.
It's all right, we can hear you. It's
We can still hear you.
So, when most of the rider have a big change like this, everybody think they did something really different during this off season. But finally, I think you work during every year. You work a lot, and every year you improve your riding. And it's not in one off season you build your level. It's doing many years. So every year I try to find something to improve. Normally when I want to change one habit in my skills or in my riding. I try a lot on one thing to change, because it takes a long time to change something. You know, when you are in a race run, you don't ride with reflection. You ride with instinct and like an animal.
Yeah.
So to change this habit is really hard. You need to work a lot.
Yep.
So I think it's a mix of a lot of things. I think maybe before I have the level of this, but not the result.
Yeah.
During the winter, I changed small things. Like in first, the team changed a lot, because we had Camille come to the team.
Yeah.
And she managed the bike sponsor in the team, and the team manager managed Dorval, the financial sponsor. And she shows the best component, like we have Fox, Rental, Schwalbe, Cromboser wheels, Shimano. And now we are sure we have one of the top 3 best bike in the paddock.
Yeah.
So when in the past I have some mechanical issue and not, it's not bad component, but it was good, but not the best. When you have the best, it's so much easier to sit the bike, to improve your skills and everything. That's the first thing we change. Also, the team are every year more professional. We have more budget every year because we improve the result every year. In the team, we have Monica. She did some good podium in the past. We have Mariana Salazar. She did some podium also in World Cup. We have some young junior, Baptiste Piron, sometime in the top 10. So it's also hard to find directly the best staff for the team, to find like sometimes you have a good mechanic, but it's not fit with the team. Some team are very professional, some team is a bit more fun inside, but it's not bad or wrong. You just need to find the right people going with the right man in the team, and it takes time. I listened one time, I think he's in the outspoken of Rick Bruni. He asked his team manager if he need to try a new team now, how many years he need to find the good people, and he said 3 years is a lot. When he know to do a good team, 3 years is a lot. So the team is more professional every year. Also, I changed my not physio, my coach.
Yeah.
No, is Adrien Blacher. Is the physio also of the team. And it's also take time to find the right coach. Now we find every year a good thing to improve.
For sure.
Yeah, and I was in Morzine during the summer. Also, this year, in 2020 we had the COVID.
Yeah.
So we had more time in the summer to ride, and a lot of riders not stop, but was more relaxed. And me, I was fully focused for racing because I had injury the year before.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like pretty much vital to have good results.
Yeah.
So I was really motivated, and during the lockdown, I try to do everything I can to keep my physical preparation. And after in Morzine, I try a lot to change my habit on my braking during all the summer. So I think it's pay off. And I come to the French Cup. I was pretty ready, and maybe some other rider wasn't. But me, I was ready to fight.
So I
think there's two things I've taken there is one, we didn't know your story, and really you've just got to forget 2019 because of your injury. And if you do that, your last result was 11th. So going from the 11th at Val d'Istol into the way you performed in 2020 actually makes quite a lot of sense. And then the other thing is what you said about your team and your sponsors and your new coach and your preparation. You've got to have everything right and everything lined up for things to work. So when you explain that, it makes a lot of sense. Sorry, George, carry on.
For a team, it takes time to be professional. We didn't have enough money and experience at the beginning for sure, and now we are pretty good.
Yeah.
So one of the things you said, you've tried to improve lots of things. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about is that I overheard some people talking at one of the races, and I can't remember who it was, but they said your style on the bike had improved dramatically, that you didn't look good on the bike in previous years, but now you do. Is that something you've worked on, your body position? And
I'm working on my body position, but I'm not really agree with that. My style didn't change. You know, first time in the live TV, runner say, oh, he have long legs, he use his long legs. Now some friends call me long legs, but it's still to say that now this year. Yeah, one runner, I think this year still to say he have long legs, he use this to his advantage.
Yeah, you can't make them shorter.
So my riding changed a little bit, yes, for sure, but like not. I didn't ride with my arm, so I didn't ride like Amaury Pierron. So I have my style and I keep it from the beginning.
Yeah.
And also, you know, my clothes change a lot from the beginning. So sometimes some people check too much this and think you change your style, but it's not your style, just your clothes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's like in World Cup, sometimes you see at the training some rider are really fast, but his look fast is not really fast, and it's a little bit the same. It's not like statistic analysis. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so going back to 2020, 12th at World Championships in Leogang, and then inside the top 20 at all 4 World Cups with a 7th at the first of the 2 races in Loser. I assume you were very happy with your season in 2020?
To be honest, for the World Cup season, I was a little bit frustrated because after the French Cup season, I was pretty much like, I think, overconfident. I was too much believe in me. And after the French championships, I beat Loïc Bruni and Loris Vergier. Loïc Bruni was world champion. So in my mind, it was a little bit like, okay, I did this, so maybe I can beat them also in World Cup.
Yeah.
But no, World Cup is World Cup. Like it's not the same. You can have all the World Cup rider in the French Cup. It's not a World Cup. World Cup is way different because the mindset and the media coverage and everything. So it changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I was happy with my result in the World Championship in Leogang because it was pretty hard. I have like not a good run, but when you saw everyone follow, so I'm pretty stoked because it's easier to crash and to do a good run. So sure. I was pretty stoked. But in Maribor, I was too much. I want too much. I think I did like big mistake during my first run. The first one, I did big mistake. Second one, I crashed before the quali, so I was not very good. I crashed in the World Garden. I was not sure to ride the qualification and everything, so it was hard. And after in Lusa, I was thinking, okay, just do what you can do, and we will see. I did a pretty good first round. In Lusa, I was 7, I think.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't manage good pedaling section because I was third before the physical section, and I was 7 at the end. So half of second of the podium. I was really believe I can do it for the second run, but in the second run in Lusa, I took I was in same time of Loris Vergier.
With the rain.
I took the rain, yeah. I took the rain, so I was like out the top 20.
Yeah, it's very great.
It's crazy because the qualification, we have no point. I didn't pedaling crazy in the pedaling section, and in the final, I was slower in the pedaling section because it was sticky. It was crazy.
Yeah, sure. So,
yeah, I was a little bit frustrated about my World Cup session, but
yeah,
I believe I can do a podium for the year after that.
Yeah, for sure. So was there a good mood in the team at the end of the 2020 season with Camille being world champion, Monica third, and then you'd had some good results? Was the team mood at the end of the year a strong one going into 2020?
Yeah, it's crazy. We have, now in the team, like, we find the good people, the right people. Every staff member believe on their rider. We have good mood. Everyone have the same vision, so it's really good. Everyone have a role in the team.
Yeah.
So yeah, the mood is really good, and we know where we start the team. So when you look back, it's crazy. Camille Balance world champion. For a team at the beginning, we just want to do the quality done. It's really crazy. Yeah, so we are pretty confident at the end of the season. Yeah.
Cool. And I know it's not about the bike. Sorry, I know it's not about the bike, but how important has the Commencal been in your success? You mentioned before about switching from the Saracen. You must love the Commencal.
Yeah. In first Commencal, we want to have the best bike. Like, it's crazy how they put money and effort in the race to have the best, to win World Cup. And you have Max Commencal on every race. It's crazy because he know how it's hard to do good result in World Cup. He know what is it. Sometimes some bad thing can happen. So it's really cool because he's always ask you if everything is good. He want to put his effort to have the best results. So he help you at his maximum.
Yeah.
And it's not only that, there was also last year they did a track just for the Commencal rider in Pasquette. I think it's the only round to that.
Yeah.
And it's not just about testing. We do some testing camp with the engineer of Commencal, so they help us for the setting of the bike. But also we check the body position, the skills of riding. He have some meeting with the manager of my team to see what they can improve on the managing of the team, on managing of the test camp. So they put the maximum of Commencal put their effort in the maximum for the racing, and they love that. I'm pretty stoked to ride for a ground like this. because if you do some bad results, they are there. If you do good results, they are there. So
you can see his passion run throughout the whole company. You're still on the production bike, is that correct?
Yeah,
not the one.
27.
Yeah, not the one that Commensal Muckhoff are riding.
Not in 2029.
Have you got that bike yet?
I never try this bike.
Okay, so 2021, 5th at the first race in Lille game. That was your first World Cup podium. How important was that first big result at the start of the season?
Yeah, it's crazy because it was my goal for all the winter, all the off season. I was thinking about this. I can do a podium. I can do a podium. I was really believe on this, and first race I did it. So it was pretty much okay. I did my goal. What I will do now? But I was so stoked. For me it was a dream to do a podium.
Yeah,
it's just crazy.
Me too.
I just did my first top 10 the year before. So for me it was crazy, dream come true.
Nice.
And also it put a little bit of pressure on my shoulder for the run after that, because I always want to do better. So
yeah, I was just going to ask, what difference did it make to the rest of your season then being a protected rider? Did it change your approach into the next races?
Yeah, for sure, because in first I was really wanted to be in the top 10 of overall, so you need to do some point in the qualification, so you need to ride fast, and it's less stressful. You keep some mental energy for the final, because in qualification, you can do the qualification, but sometimes bad thing can happen.
Yeah.
So and also you can measure better yourself with other top rider, because you ride at the maximum in qualification. When you are not protected, you try to have some some margin. To margin for if you do some mistake or something like this, to be sure to be in the final. So you can ride at your maximum, and like other top rider, and for the final you can see the statistic of the qualification to see why is your best sector, everything. So it's easier to improve your race run for the final.
Yeah. So 28th in Leger, French national champion once again, and then second at European Championships in Maribor before taking 6th at the World Cup at the same venue the following week. Then the big one, silver medal at Worlds, just, under 0.3 seconds off being world champion. Tell us about World Championships week. Did it all go smoothly for you?
It's never going smoothly in World Cup. It was a really hard week in the World Champ, because we working really hard on this track with my assistant manager Paul.
Yeah,
he checked every line all day long. So we pretty much try everything. And sometimes not just one time, we try few times to know exactly which line will be the best for me. And sometimes he compare me to the other rider, and he said this rider is faster on this and everything. So it was a crazy work this week. In the sitting run, I wasn't feeling good because I tried so many things. I wasn't ready to push. But for the final, I was sure 100% I have the best line for me. Everything was perfect. The bike, we work also on the bike with my mechanic Yannick. We did good sitting for sure.
Yeah.
And I was pretty stressful. It was stressful for the final because I was thinking on this track from the beginning of the off season, because I know I can do something good on this track.
Yeah.
And when I took the gondola in Val d'Isole to go for my final run, my race run, I saw Antoine Vidal was third in the seating. He didn't do a good time in his race run. So I was okay. For the moment, no rider did a really good time. So it's a little bit more open than what I expect. And in the gondola, I saw Greenland crash just in front of me. It was crazy. So it's staying like pretty open. Like for me, it was two rider can be something really good. So I was pretty confident for my race run, and my race run it was pretty much perfect. I pushing hard. I have one goal. It's at the hand. Keep pushing, because when you are tired, sometimes you lose some time. And I pushing hard, keep going. I did some little mistake, but for Val d'Isole, absolutely nothing.
That's normal.
I just keep going until the bottom. And I did the run I wanted, so I was so stoked at the finish. It was crazy for me to do a run like this in Val d'Isole. Yeah.
Nice. So you come down and straight into the hot seat. You'd seeded 7th, so there's 6 riders to go. Troy comes down next, but he's 0.3 back. So there's just 5 riders left at the top. Talk us through your emotions. Did you dare to dream at any stage that you might win it?
Yeah, I dreamed a little bit. But when I saw Troy was close to me, I don't know. It was a little bit strange, because at the end of my run, I was so stoked above my run. Whatever my results, I was so stoked. So I not really dreaming about winning when I was on the hot seat. I think Greg come pretty in the first, I don't know, third rider maybe.
Yeah, I think he was 4th. Was he 4th from the end? Because there was 3 after him. So not many after.
But he was a little bit late in the middle of the track, and I was faster until the last split, I think. And he beat me at the end. So it's like this. But after that, I pretty much I check with my team manager how many riders still on the track or at the top to see if I can do a podium. Finally, second. It was crazy. For me, second in the world at this time, it was like, so stoked.
Well, after such a big result, how did you refocus? Because you finished the season with the 14th in Lenzerheide and then 11th and 9th in Snowshoe. How did you get your mental strength, mentally, how did you get back to it?
It was hard, because I think after Val d'Isole, I put so much mental focus in the race. I was a little bit like tired, more in my mind, I think. And I always struggle a little bit in Lenzerheide. So the result wasn't what I expect at this moment. And it was a little bit hard, because when you do a really good result and after a bad result, you feel you lose like a magic power or something, so it's a little bit strange. So after Lenzerheide, I tried to refocus in the last 2 races but I think I was a little bit tired. Yeah. It was a big season.
Yeah.
And also after the World Champ, I was really stoked. But few weeks after, I was a little bit frustrated about to be second maybe. And I was like second at the European World Championship, 6th. I missed the podium in Maribor, and second again. I was a little bit like, it was like, everyone trying to be first, not to be second, or you train to be in the podium, not to be sixth. Like it's a little bit, I miss maybe something, but it's like this.
Cool.
So you finished 8th in the overall after 2 amazing seasons. Do you now feel like you're part of the top 10?
Yeah, I feel to be part of the top 10, but in the sport, everything can change in the bad way, like in the good way.
Yeah.
So we saw some good rider like Daniel this year. I don't know if he did the podium. I'm not sure. Like it's crazy because like Fuya, he wins some World Cup,
Yeah.
The level in World Cup now is so high. Everything counts. And you can be close to do good result and don't did it. So sometimes it's hard. So this year I was in the top 10, but next year we never know. So I need to try hard this winter, but I have big motivation for that. So it's not. Cool. We will see.
Cool.
I believe I can do the same.
Yeah, I believe it as well. But as you said, you just got to work hard and try your luck. So
always to improve.
Yeah, for sure. So if my memory serves me correctly, at the start of 2021, you signed with Dorval for another 2 years. But we've heard all kinds of rumours at the end of the season that maybe you're moving on. Can you update us on your team situation? Will you be with Dorval next year?
Yeah, I saw a lot of rumor.
Always.
I will stay in Dorval team.
Cool.
For sure. We have some chat with other team, but it's not like. So I saw in internet some team will buy me or something like that. It's the transfer not working like this. It's not like team manager fight with suitcase or something like this. Some team come to me and have a little chat what you will do next year. If you're free, maybe we have a discussion. It's more like this and something. But
I did think that.
No, in the team we are pretty good. We have good money in the team. The staff believe on the rider. We have the best bike. I know I can do good result. So why I will change? The only thing we didn't have in the team is old rider with a lot of experience at the top. We didn't have this, but other thing we have everything. So no reason to change yet.
I knew we were going to ask that question. And when I asked you about the new Commencal Supreme and you said, no, I haven't got my hands on that bike yet, I thought, maybe he is moving to another team.
None of us have, and that's because of COVID. We're told we'll all be using it at some point next year. But again, I think...
for the Commencal is pretty... Yeah, it's complicated because there are many teams.
Yeah.
They can
so many.
Give to everyone a prototype. Prototype is really expensive. Yeah. They need to follow. I think riding a prototype, you have more problem when you are not the factory team.
For sure.
And for us, it's easier to ride the production bike. And also, we didn't have to do the testing for the prototype, so we we save some time, and when we come to the next when we will come to the next bike, Mukov had 1 year on the bike, and there's some experience to share with you, and you save time again to do the setting of the bike and everything. So for us, it's we will stay in this situation, for sure.
So before we go, I have one last question. And I remember watching a World Cup. I think it might have been Fort William, 2015 or 2016. And I saw a rider and they were on a belt drive Nikolai with a gearbox. And the belt snapped right out of the gear. And that basically destroyed any chance of that technology ever being used at World Cup level again. Was that you on that rider? Were you that rider?
It was me. I think I had like 4 year or 3 year in the gearbox.
Yeah.
It was so good. Like you can ride without noise, and you can change the speed when you want.
Yeah.
And this time I broke it's not the belt, it was the gearbox inside, but we think it was a production problem. Then sometimes it happened.
Yeah.
I think it's the treatment. I don't know in English.
Okay.
Like the pinion inside.
Yeah, pinion side. Yeah.
It was not. You need to put in hot water, and they didn't do good. I think what we think, and I broke the big gearbox, but for sure in the future we will see more of this. I was loving it when I was riding this.
Cool. Jack, you were on Nikolai around that time. You experimented with lots of stuff with Chris Porter. Did you try the gearbox at all?
I tried it once. Chris was pretty keen for me to try it, but for me, the shifting system wasn't good enough. So we kind of achieved what the gearbox gives you with the weight and the stability. We achieved that through the lead testing that we did. So,
did you try the pinion or the FAGR gearbox?
I can't remember. I think that was 2016. My mind doesn't go back that far. I can't remember which one it was. But I think Benoît's right. We will at some point for sure see downhill bikes with gearboxes in, because the weight nice and low down makes the bike more stable. Yeah,
and the weight when you ride, it wasn't a big problem because it's close to the bottom, close to your feet.
Exactly.
So you don't feel it. And my Nikolai bike was like 18.5 kilos, so it was not too bad. Nikolai is not the lightest bike; it's like a big tube. But you need to build the bike around this for sure. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you ever so much, Benoît, for making the time to come on the podcast. As I said at the start, it's a pretty inspiring story, and I really hope you can carry it on into 2022 and beyond. So around this time last year, we had the chance to record with Tracy Hannah. She just announced her retirement, so everyone was wanting a piece of her, and she was holed up in a hotel in Australia, isolating after returning from Europe. So she had lots of time on her hands. Having learned that she was using the time to record a number of podcasts, we decided to try and do something a little bit different. It was based on a TV program called Inside the Actor's Studio, where the host would always end with a questionnaire, and we thought it would be a fun distraction from the same old. So having done that for one retiring rider, this year we decided we'd do it again. Emilie Siegenthaler is a 6-time Swiss national champion. She has 16 World Cup podiums to her name, and we'll be chatting with her after these messages. Emilie Siegenthaler, welcome back to the podcast. Tell us a little bit about where in the world you are right now.
So I'm at home in Switzerland. Cam and I just moved house right after the season. So we moved not far, just maybe on the hill up above from Biel, where we lived before. And we've been like 99% of the time above the fog. So we're really happy about that.
And where have you been this last week?
You used to be straight in it.
Where have you been this last week? Because you've been on your travels, haven't you?
Yeah, I've just came home from a 1 week trip to the US, which was a little bit last minute, but I guess Pivot was really willing to do something because I retired, and I had a great time being at the headquarters, riding, and also riding in Sedona for the Rome Festival. So it was great times.
Cool. So 14 years racing World Cups. How did you know it was time to retire, and when did you make the decision?
So I think there was a bit of time between the time I know it was like the time to retire and the time I decided, because obviously you kind of know after COVID year 2020, and then at the beginning of 2021, I felt like my speed was there, but at the races I struggled with, I don't know, like commitment and some other things like the stress and everything. I had a hard time dealing with it. I guess 1 year doing nothing, you just kind of like lose it, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I did quite well in Leogang, but then obviously I had some crashes in my race runs and stuff. And then when I was in Maribor, I was really like just gonna turn it around. And I know Maribor doesn't really suit me usually, so I'm gonna go to European Champs and do well there so I can prepare for World Cup. And I was just like, had a great feeling on my bike, but then I was just like kind of far back, and I was like, oh God, like there's so much pressure on me. And I felt like this is type of tracks where, not La Léger or Leogang, where it's technically kind of hard, so you can do like a 90% run and still like get a good result. Like Maribor, you need to go 110, otherwise you're just gonna get like smashed. So
yeah,
it was in between the European Champs and Maribor World Cup then that I decided to retire. I had a little breakdown and and when I was on my own, and I was just like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Because it was so hard to like decide. But as soon as I made my decision and I started to talk to people, I felt actually so relieved. And I guess also after that weekend, my feeling improved at the races as well.
Cool. Well, all the girls got together with you for a farewell lunch. Was that in Lenzerheide? Was that the last World Cup?
It was in Lenzerheide, yeah.
I don't recall that ever happening before, and I think that's a sign of kind of how loved you are on the circuit. Did it mean a lot to you?
Yeah, I think it was the first time, but I think so. I actually organized it. I wrote to everyone and I said I really want to do something, and I thought it was better to do it in Lenzerheide because then I know the people there and I have the connections to make it happen.
Yeah.
And everybody came, like almost everybody came, and then they also like prepared something to give to me after the race on the podium. Everybody signed their numbers.
Yeah, I saw that. That was cool.
Yeah, it's here at home in the garage. Yeah, so I think that meant even more. But just I wanted to do something for them, for all the ladies I shared all these years with. Some of them are younger, some of them are older, but then the younger can also see that it doesn't mean they need to like compete every time with each other, and we can just like try to make our sports grow as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was really amazing.
Excellent. Right, well, let's get into it. Jack, do you want to do the honours?
Yeah, I'll kick things off, and first question's a good one. Favourite World Cup track, Emily?
So, is it on the circuit right now or favourite ever?
Oh, favourite ever, I think.
Favourite ever for sure.
Yeah.
Favourite one you've ever raced, yeah.
Champery.
Nice. Yeah, good choice. Why is that? What is it that you liked about Champery?
Well, it's home track. I think it was the steepness of it was kind of like unseen before.
Yeah.
And it has everything, like the jumps, like even that jump sections at the end towards like the last versions of it was just like, it's a shame that you can't do that anymore because it's on some farmers' land, but it was amazing. Had such a great feeling coming to the finish, and even how knackered you were from that pretty long and technical track, you were still like sending it, and it was amazing.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely one that I really enjoyed. Okay. And then least favorite World Cup track again, just ever.
Everything when you have to pedal a lot. Probably Peter Maritzburg. I mean, these tracks are really kind of fun in practice because you can chill, but then in the race it's like the most horrible thing ever.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of flattish. There's some cool jumps, but then if you lose the speed, you just like lose so much time because it's such a long pedally bit in the middle. It's like almost like 1 minute of like pedal. So if you mess it up a little bit, you're just gonna eat. There's no like margin for error on little bits, and I don't really like that.
Okay.
I remember, was it Petey? Didn't he run a dropper post? Somebody.
Yeah, there's a lot of people with dropper posts. There's also some people with single crowns. There's like all type of stuff. Yeah. Like this and Cambria as well. Like 9 Worlds. That was like same kind of track. People would ride it without knee pads. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like that was horrible. Yeah.
Right. Question number 3 then. Greatest rival.
Ooh. I don't have any rivals. I mean, if you think about like at halftime finding someone that was all the time fighting with, but obviously like the greatest rival in general will be Rachel Atherton for me because she's just like the most competitive and fierce like racer that we had on the field.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think maybe other than that, maybe myself, because sometimes I made my life really hard on just by crashing and having injuries. So yeah, but otherwise Rachel Atherton for sure. So
Rachel's been out for how long now? Probably 2 or 3 seasons since she raced, do you reckon?
End of 2019, yeah.
Do you think she could still come back and win?
I mean, there's a lot of commitment, but if she puts everything onto it, she could definitely do it because she has the talent and she has the like all the skills and the physical skills as well. But then it only depends of your commitment if you want to risk it again.
Yeah.
So that's a big question. But if she can do that, there's no question she can come back and win. It will be harder than before, but she could still do it.
Yeah. So, but question number 4: who's your best mate on the circuit? And it can't be Camille. That'd be too easy.
Yeah, that would be very easy. Well, even though she stopped racing, she's still on the circuit because she's helping. Which would definitely be Tracy Hannah.
Yeah, I think she said you in her interview. I think she said you.
Yeah, we're besties. It wasn't always like that, but I guess Tracy is like someone that has a lot of barriers, and if you get like through them, she's someone that we can really trust. So I really appreciate that.
Cool.
So question number 5, what would you say your biggest strength has been in your career?
Ooh. I think it's like, well, my career is long, so it's fine. It's hard to find one strength on the whole thing because I guess when I came in, my biggest strength was like courage. I was not afraid to hit stuff. But then also that became kind of my biggest weakness because I got injured so much. So I guess all in all, looking back, probably like my patience and my experience, which kind of goes together. But that grew over time. But I guess looking back, I would say my experience.
Nice. And what would be your greatest achievement, would you say?
Well, I had a few top 3, like 3rd places. Especially one in Enzerheide. I think it was like 2017, where I was like quite close to the win, maybe like less than 2 seconds. But I would say probably like 2019, my 3rd in Lenzerheide with Cam was on the podium as well. That was made like more special because we were both on there.
Yeah.
So I guess that. And Lenzerheide is always like makes it so much better when you podium.
When you're at home, for sure.
What about those Swiss national titles?
Well, I mean, for sure the first one was like really special, but then before Karina Capillari, who also was like a top 15, top 10 racer, came, there's like not that much competition.
Right.
So obviously it's great you have like 7 titles or whatever, but I don't think that had the same value for me because it's so much harder to get a World Cup podium.
Yeah.
For sure.
Cool. Next question. Any regrets?
Well, obviously, I prefer not to be injured and stuff, but it's not really a regret. It's just like how the sports is. I guess maybe that I didn't switch from cross country to downhill earlier. That's a bit of a regret to me because I think the sports really fits my personality better, and I would have loved to do like the junior years as a downhill racer.
Yeah. So, what prompted the switch?
That's a bit of a long story, but try to make it short. At the time, when you were 19, you're coming out from the juniors and just straight to the elite. There was no under 23 races or whatever, so you like had double the time of racing. So obviously, when that happened, I had to train a bit more, and I trained maybe too much, and I was like in overtraining.
Yeah.
And from that, I kind of reactivated the Epstein-Barr virus, which is like the mono that I had like for 4 or 5 years back, and that came in for I don't know what reason. My immune system just broke down, and so all these symptoms came back, and I think that had a big impact on my body. And I tried 1-2 years to like get back into training, but I kept like getting sick, and it was just like horrible. So I gave up everything that had to do with endurance and a lot of like training in hours, and just tried to ride my bike for fun. Ended up doing the downhill race and I really liked it, but then I started like that.
Cool. And what's your favorite memory? Is it that podium with Cami?
I think it's her world title.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Because I was like, it can be a bit of both, but I think her world title was like, I had such a horrible time that weekend, like getting my knee that was like fixed, broken again, a 3rd time in ACL. I was just like, oh my God, when is it going to end? And we both didn't really expect a lot from that race. She was just like, okay, can get this over with? Literally before the start. Yeah. And then she just saved the day. And for us, for like our country, like this, I mean, the status of downhill in Switzerland, it made such a big difference. I think it was probably my favorite memory of all.
That's nice. That's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So your best run of your career, which run are you most proud of or most happy with?
I think it would be probably at World Champs in Montana, 2019. I got 5th, but it was that year where everybody got injured, and then for Worlds, everybody came back.
Yeah.
And 2 riders they weren't there the whole season, Tani and Miriam, got 1st and 2nd. But I got 5th, and I was only 5 seconds back on the title. And Montana is a pretty hard track, so
yeah.
I think that's where I like, because my season was hard. I had like a shoulder injury, and I had to overcome a lot of stuff, especially on that track. And I think I was really proud of my run back then. And even like Miriam told me, oh, you did a really great run. We look really good. So I think even though it wasn't my best result with a 5th, I think it probably was one of my best runs.
Nice. That's cool. So what's the best run you think you've ever seen?
Well, we talked about, I think that's pretty clear to me. We talked about Champéry, and I think what I witnessed at World Champs, Champéry and Danny Hart coming down, that was like one thing I probably never see again. Like the way he rode and like how hard it was, and he made it look so easy, and that was like really impressive. I was also really impressed by Rachel Atherton's win in Enschede. I think what Worlds She smashed the field, and only the line that she did in the rock garden, like at the top, even the like half of the men were not doing it, like straight down with carried a lot of speed, and it's pretty risky line. So I was just like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So I guess, these two runs.
The Danny Hart run just still, like, every kind of 6 months or something, it'll come up on Facebook, and it's still something. There's very few things I would watch like so many times, and you watch it and it still gives me goosebumps now. It's just, it is like probably the defining video of downhill for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And when you're there, like, I remember I was in the finishing area and it was pouring down and we could barely see the screen because it was pouring so much, but everybody was shouting and looking at the times. We were like, is that even true? Like, is it that timing working? And then he did this whip on the end and everybody went crazy. I was just like, what the hell just happened? And I was really, it was crazy.
Right, next one's not so positive. Biggest crash.
Oh, had a lot of crashes. But actually, probably statistically, I probably have a really bad statistic in crashes and injuries, because I was talking to one of the young kids. Well, it's like not so young anymore. It's 25, but he's still like try to get into like walk-up racing and stuff. And he was like, well, you never crash. And I was like, no, you crash a lot. But it's true, as I stopped crashing so much with the years, but when I do, then a lot of things happen. I would say probably the one in Maribor in 2019 where I did my AC joint in my shoulder. It was at the Access Cup, and we were going kind of around the big rock garden, but still kind of in it. So obviously it had a lot of speed because it was a kind of straighter. And it was a kind of low rock pile that you could like double before exiting. And I was always doing it. I think I wasn't one of the only girls that was doing it. But then one at the time I did it, I just like slightly touched my front wheel on it. So it made me go over the bars, and then I crashed like over the bars, full speed down that like chute where you exit the rock garden. So that was horrible. And I was like really lucky that I didn't like hurt my head or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the hardest one for sure.
And worst injury or hardest injury to get over, which might be two things.
ACL and the knee. Yeah. That's like the hardest thing. And probably like my second one, because my first one after in Whistler, I don't know. I didn't really know what was going on. So I was just like, and then obviously then after 5 months, I could ride again. But the second one, you just know how long it is. And I don't know, my right knee was just harder. It's still like bothering me right now. It's still not like 100% or like you never be 100%, but it's still like not very good. I can't really bend my knee properly. So that's really annoying. And try to get better, but I guess time will tell if I can kneel one day again. Probably never.
So what's the biggest feature you remember from a track that's like really kind of psyched you out? Did you hit the big Red Bull gap at Leogang at World Champs?
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
Before I crashed I did my knee. I didn't even crash actually when I did my knee at Worlds. But yeah, I did it. But that was like in the way it was really scary.
Oh yeah.
Because you were like coming with 0 speed and you had to like pedal on it and hop. So that was like that was pretty scary. But once you do it, you're like, okay, well, it's kind of okay. Yeah. I guess that triple in snowshoe at the end where there's like lots of girls crashed this year. I didn't practice in qualifying, but I didn't do it on my very last run because I was like, oh God. The line into it, there's like kind of a little rut formed and like it was kind of slippery. So that's what happened to Jess Blewett. She was coming and then a little bit too fast, slid and couldn't like hop for it. So it seemed easy, but then if you got it wrong, it would be so devastating, like what would happen to you. So I did it like a couple of times in practice and I did it in my race runs as well. for the first race and also qualifying, but then I was just like, no, like for my last run, I won't do it, because if I crash my brains out on my very last walk-up run, that would not be very ideal.
Yeah.
But yeah, this not very big, but like I think it was not really made for that. So I guess people started tripling it, and then would be like, okay, well, it's scary.
Do you think, I remember the first 2019 was the first year in snowshoe. I think Marine was the only woman who was doing it.
Yeah.
Is that right? And then do you think that's like a sign of how far the women's racing has come very quickly, that this year there were a lot more?
Oh, yeah.
Or was it easier this year than
well, in 2019, I was there the whole time. I was there for 20 minutes, seeing if I could actually do it.
Yeah.
And I think it was kind of the same. Like the boys said it was the same.
Yeah.
But I guess
it was worse this year because, like you said, the corner before it started chewing up. So you kind of slid as you hit the corner, whereas I don't remember it being like that in 2019. You just turned and jumped. So
because at Berpin, less people were doing it. But I think I was there for 20 minutes 2019, and I was just like, how am I going to do this? And I didn't do it at the end, not once. And then we were just following some people, and I ended up doing it like a bunch of times. So I think it shows, and like a lot of people did it in the race runs as well. So it shows how far the women's field has become.
For sure.
What's your process, Emmy? If you come up to something like that, for getting over features, what do you think is the best way to deal with it?
Well, I guess you kind of need to look some people ride it well, and then when you feel like there's some people riding it, especially if there's a girl doing it, then you have like that faith, okay, I can do it as well because my speed is going to be the same. You can discuss it. I like to discuss it with other people that did it, and then especially not Bernard, because he's going to tell me how easy it is, and it's not going to be easy at all for me. So some people that have actually like kind of idea, that is still a hard feature, and like, the timing must be good. And then just follow someone in that I trust, and that time was Cami, so she followed her teammate in, and the run after I followed her in. And if you don't feel it, don't pull straight, just look at the speed, and then maybe when you feel like it's the right time, just try it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good advice.
Okay, so favorite ever bike. Do you have a bike that stands out in your memory that obviously?
Well, obviously the world's bike that we get done. I always like something so cool.
Yeah.
And my last one, especially, so it was like a Pivot Phoenix 29er, with that red and then kind of orange crimson color. That was like, I still have it. I don't think I'm going to get another downhill bike this year because I want to keep this one. I asked people, I was like, oh, can I run a custom color this year? They were like, yeah, no, don't care. Because I don't want to go back to like a gray one or something. That's so cool. Obviously with like all the details, and like there's on the top tube like a little, like not like a little thing with like written Val di Sol and my first world champs and my last world champs. And yeah, I think it's just beautiful, and it rides really well, and it's a bike that actually is a lot of fun also in bike park. So if I'm not gonna race a lot of races, I might do a couple, but if I just do for fun, I can ride a bike also on a bike park and have lots of fun.
Nice.
What's your favorite thing about racing?
Well, I guess it's getting that. It's like a little, I don't know, it's like a little circus. Everybody like comes from all these different parts of the world and get together, and then we all do our thing for a week and enjoy each other's company and like race and give our all, and then party, and then go back to wherever we come from. So that's like a little bit of a crazy concept, but when you don't do it anymore, it's kind of it's kind of hard. And I hope I can still go to the racing, but it's not the same when you're not racing. You're part of it, but not in the same way. But seeing everyone and travel with the team and get to know the people that love biking, yeah, it's just the best.
Cool. And what's your least favorite thing about racing?
Ooh, the stress, like, it's so annoying when you just like, it's a stress buildup and it gets worse and worse and worse until you race run. And that period of time after your warm up until you cross the gate, you go off the gate. That's like my worst feeling ever.
Horrible.
And then having to have breakfast at 6 a.m. in the morning when all you want to do is sleep. Yeah, that's for sure my least favorite thing.
Do you think that part of the reason crossing the line feels so good is because that stress has gone?
Oh yeah, for sure. And even it's like even crossing, like even like going through the beam at the top, it's just like then it's like a relief. Then you just need to execute what you planned and ride your bike. If you get it or not the way you want it, I mean, your stress is still gone. So yeah, that's the best moment.
Okay, next one. What's the thing you'll miss most about not racing World Cups and not racing anymore?
A bit like you said, like be at the finish area and share like the buzz that you had on your run with your friends that also raced. And like when you go, oh man, I forgot about this in my run. Actually, I almost crashed there, and all these little things that you share with each other. People that don't like know racing and see that, they must think me completely nuts. Like the way we talk after a run is like it's a little bit. I think people are completely crazy, but it's just like, yeah, the relief that you feel when you like can execute a run that you want it. That's like a feeling that is really important and for an athlete, but also sharing all.
Oh, are you there, Emmy? Might have lost Emmy.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you there? Sorry, I've lost you a little bit there.
Really?
Yeah. I think we're back now. Let's go.
Okay.
But I was just going to say, like, some riders come down and they come into the finish area and then they disappear. You are, from what I see on TV, you are always there in the finish area, cheering people on, clapping, etc. Is that a conscious thing? Do you consciously stay there, or do you just love it, or have there been times when you've disappeared?
No, I don't think I ever disappeared. Maybe at the beginning when I started, I was like, maybe came in a little bit with my cross country background, like a bit too competitive, and then I couldn't really have it when some people were beating me that I don't think must have beat me or something. But I had to learn quickly that's not the way it works in downhill, because if you're so hard on yourself, you're just never gonna get better. So thanks to also my teammate, especially at Pivot, that was just like had such a different like perspective about racing. I could just like enjoy it, and even if I didn't have a great run, I could learn from all the others coming down and share a good moment with them, and then leave with like, I don't know, just a more balanced, like, and just have peace of mind and not be completely like worried and miserable for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, for sure. It's a really positive way of looking at it. Okay, so what thing won't you miss?
Well, risking your life. Risking your life for like, no, I mean, it's fun, don't get me wrong, it's fun to like go at the limit and stuff, but sometimes you don't feel like it, and these moments where came even more and more often towards the end of my career, when I was just like, this is ridiculous. Like, so
do you think that's because the pay, the increase in talent in the women's field is pushing you to go faster, or do you think that was just you getting a little bit older? And
it's a bit of both, I think, but definitely the level, like we said about snowshoe, it showed like, I think I got like a 7th in snowshoe, and I didn't do the triple, and I rode like we can't really compare the times, but like I don't think I rode better at all. And yeah, I got the 7th too, but then a 9th at the end. But I felt like my runs were like certainly not worse, and especially in my board, I was just like, what the hell, like what am I going to do? And the thing is, it's not like one section or two sections anymore where you do mistakes. It's like you lose time everywhere a little bit, so you can't really do anything unless riding everywhere a bit faster. And so that's the thing that was like confusing to me, because and that's one thing I stopped, because then you start to make silly choices about like trying to go so much faster, and then you just crash. Like I crashed in my board in practice really hard, and then I was just like, I was lucky that I wasn't injured or something, but I was just like, it felt good to like go on the limit, but on the other hand, you're like, this is not, gonna make me go any faster if I do this type of stuff.
Yeah. So last 2 questions. One of them's a little bit of fun. What's your favourite curse word?
Putain.
Hey.
The Frenchy word. That's probably the one I say the most, but yeah, I guess we'll stay to that. No English curse word.
Cool. And last question on the list here is the future. What are you up to? What are you doing?
So I don't know if you mentioned it, but I just came back from America, and I was in Phoenix at Pivot Cycles headquarters, and so I'm still going to be an ambassador for them.
Cool.
I might maybe go to Crankworks, do some racing there if I feel like it, maybe national champs, because there's not a lot of girls in Switzerland, and I want to kind of like set an example that there's still going to be a lot of girls, and try to push people to come. I might get involved. We kind of need to see with the European headquarters of Pivot what they need from me, but kind of be there like a person to help also with like the younger athletes in Pivot in the future. We don't have really a set program yet, but that's kind of what direction I want to go on. Maybe like the young privateers, and kind of be that person or contact person that they can like rely on before they get like on a factory team or whatever. And I'm getting into some coaching. I've got a sports psychology degree, so I'm working with some athletes at home, and also coach some very young kids at home. And I'm going to be teaching primary school like I always do, a little bit for the money side because it's not all fun and jokes being on the bike industry, but it's not very well paid. So you do it for the love, and then you kind of need to make some money as well. But I like working with kids, so it's good. It's a good job.
So there's 2 questions linking to that last one, the future question. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt? What would you like to have a go at?
Well, like I said, I was coaching some young kids, so I do them like the mental aspect, but I'm also kind of getting into, and I guess I had a lot of experience, but I don't really have like a degree for that. I was like try to be like a physical coach. Yeah. So I could totally see myself try to like get into that and maybe do, some courses. Yeah. My dad did all of them, but I don't want to do what my dad does. But I guess I really like to coach younger athletes. So we'll see if I get into that or not. But I could definitely try.
And what profession would you not like to do? What?
Ooh. Everything that has to do with money, like finance, something, taxes, or like, I don't know, law enforcement. The people that come, I don't know the name in English, the people that come and like go to your car and then parked wrong, and they just like put you some fines.
Yeah, traffic warden.
On a Sunday because on a Sunday because you're like that much beside the.
Yeah, joyless jobs.
Exactly. That's exactly not what I want to
do. Well, that's it, Emmy. Thank you for making the time to come on the pod. So those are the 20 questions. Before you go, there's a couple of things I wanted to chat with you about. The first one is we had an amazing season finale in snowshoe. If you were a betting woman, who would your money be on for 2022? That's a hard one, isn't it?
I think it's gonna be probably like the tightest season you ever seen. Because I mean, we've seen from snowshoe and also Val di Sole. There's a few people that had problems this year. Vali and Miriam did kind of a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
Even though they got Vali got the overall, I think she crashed a lot and some places she's not supposed to. Cam, from me, has the steepest learning curve, and
she was the most consistent.
Steepest.
Yeah,
and even though I think she progressed from one year to another so much, so it won't maybe be as much, but still she has the steepest curve and potential to improve. And then we've seen from Tani from time to time is excellence, and I think if she can get her confidence back, she'll be so dangerous because she wants it probably more than anyone.
Yeah.
And then Marine, who suddenly came out of nowhere on her favorite track in Val di Sole. She was also there on the podium in snowshoe, and if she gets back to 100%, I think it will be so hard for her to get into top 5 to mix it up with those 5.
Yeah.
I'm kind of happy I'm not racing anymore because I'll be oh, who am I gonna beat? Who is gonna throw it away? Because this year I felt like there's a kind of mistakes, but at some of the runs, some of the races, there's no one was making any mistakes, and I think we're gonna see some of that next year, and it's gonna be really exciting.
And in the men's,
all the Frenchies. No, I think the press is going to be really angry about what happened. And I think he's going to train like a maniac, and so will Amaury. I think the people who were so close to having something like the Prela and then kind of throw it away in some sense. I think he will he's angry in general, so I think he's going to be even more angry. Sorry, Thibaut. And then Amaury is getting back to it, and he's such a talented rider, so I think he will be really hard to. But I want to see Burden on the podium again. And he's not going to quit until he does something like that. So he said, I really want to retire with you, but I need to win a race first. So I think he has the skills. He just needs to put his mind into it, because Rokesh is something different. But I think he gets a really good run. He could do it. Yeah. So, we'll see. But for sure, this, I think there's so many people that can win a race. It's insane, and really excited to see what's going to happen.
Cool. Well, women's downhill, as we said, is probably in the best place it's ever been. The sport's maturing now, and the number of riders who can win a World Cup overall is increasing every year, as we've just said. Do you think we'll ever see the level of dominance that Rachel displayed or Ankara before her? Do you think we'll ever see that again?
Mm-hmm. I doubt it, but you never know. Vali is very young, and although there's a lot of good juniors now, especially first-year juniors, there's going to be juniors still next year, like Yankova and Phoebe Gale. They're just really talented riders all around, and then there's more coming. There's that young Kiwi, Jenna Hastings, that just won Crown Quirks, and she's 17 as well, and she beat all the elite. So I think there's a lot of young riders almost as talented as Vali that can come and challenge her, but you never know when someone gets a streak like that. Sometimes you have that confidence like Rachel had, and then you can't stop this person until she stops herself. So I will doubt it, but it could be that someone comes and have that dominance again, but it will be harder for sure than the previous years.
Yeah. We talked last year on our Getting More Women into Racing episode about things that could be done to encourage that. Have you seen any further developments?
Well, I guess it's related to the juniors we're talking about. I know that Yankova signed for a big brand next year. I don't think it's going to be a factor in team, but it's still a good support team, and then Phoebe Gale is on FD, and all these young athletes get kind of the support they deserve, and that makes a difference, because when you get to the elite, and sometimes it's hard to qualify and stuff if you don't have that support around you, you just might like say, oh, maybe that's not for me and stuff. And like someone like Anna Newkirk, who like comes back into the top 10, but had really bad years when like COVID was hitting and she didn't know what she wanted to do. And she was like not that far behind Vali when she was a junior, you know? And yeah, the environment that you're in really makes a difference. So, I mean, having that spot in a factory team and actual money, a decent salary, that's another step that maybe we're gonna get, like, we're gonna take it one step at a time. But I think the support is definitely improving.
Excellent. Well, Emilie, congratulations on your career and thanks for making the time to come on the pod, and very best of luck for the future. Jack, we're getting to the end of the year. The team rumours are pretty quiet this season. Benoit's just told us he's staying with Dorval AM. Have you heard anything?
I haven't heard too much, to be honest. I'm trying to think. Nothing off the top of my head, really.
There's only 2 kind of top 10 riders, I think, that are up for contract. And I think the rumours I've heard is Luca Shaw to Canyon.
Oh, yeah. I have heard that, to be fair.
Yeah. And then Laurie Greenland and Jackson Goldstone coming into the syndicate.
Yeah, I think even my mum's heard that one. That's the absolute dream team, isn't it? Greg, Laurie, and Jackson on Saturday syndicate. Like, that is cool.
Yeah. Well, all those rumors are out there on the internet as well. I've checked, so we're not breaking anything there. We're not revealing anything that people can't find already. Any One Vision rumors kicking around? I believe Dan's sticking with you.
Yeah, so Dan's had an offer elsewhere, but he knows where his bread's buttered, so he's staying put, which is great. Obviously, we love him, the sponsors love him, and he loves it with us. So after that top 10 in Maribor and a few other things, I already knew he had that kind of speed. I ride with him all the time, but he's shown everyone else that he's got it, and importantly, shown he can deliver it when the pressure's on. So, you know, our aim is to improve the program now and keep getting bigger and better, so that we can help Dan and other riders to keep doing that and lift it and do it more consistently. So the team is getting bigger next year, I can tell you that. We're going to be taking a junior, and excitingly, we're going to be taking our first female rider. So
cool.
I won't give you any more details other than that. We're going to be taking an extra mechanic. So there'll be Elliot and a second mechanic, Sam. Elliot will be working full time with Dan, and I'll have a new mechanic myself. We're also going to be taking on staff to help us out with additional things, because I can only be in one place at once, and at the moment I need to be in 5 places at once, and it's not possible. So my good friend Jim Hurst, shout out to Jim, he used to ride for the team. He's now going to be coming on as my right-hand man with the coaching stuff and the team stuff I have to do, and then another staff member who I won't reveal just yet, who's going to be coming on to help out with various things. So we're going to be a UCI team again. We're getting bigger, we're taking more riders, and it's all geared towards making things better for the riders. We're not doing it for how big's our truck and how big's our shop front. We're doing it to try and hunt down results for myself, for all of our riders, and show off the sponsors when we do it. So it's exciting.
Cool. Well, you're keeping pretty busy with the gravity school. The Portugal trip last season looked fantastic. I think I saw you got a lot of those planned for early next year. Is that right?
Yeah. So there's very little, once the weather turns in this country, there's very little you can do in terms of good preparation. The tracks are too short. It's too cold. So basically we'll have coaching camps in Portugal available for riders January, February and March, and the March ones are linked with races. So anyone who is interested in those can give me a shout and I can send over the details. We are taking bookings for those now. So yeah, it's really exciting. For the March ones, we're offering something that no team has ever done before. Gravity school riders who we coach are going to be able to come out and be coached for a few days, and then they will come to a national race with the team. They will be with us in the pits, they will ride with us, they will have access to the mechanics, they'll do track walks with us, line analysis with us, they'll stay with us in the accommodation, they will get the proper experience. And the idea behind that is they get all that at the race, but then also that experience is at the start of the season. So everything they learn from it, they can then take into the 2022 race season to see how the pros do it.
Excellent. And are you trying to offer like a route through from the gravity school to the team? Is that the idea?
Not directly. The Gravity School is my coaching business, and the team is the professional race team, but I own and manage and head coach at the Gravity School, and I own and manage the professional race team. So it kind of goes without saying that if I see and coach someone who's got talent and I have an opening in my race team, then there's a chance that person will then be given an opportunity to ride for the race team. If there's somebody who I've never met and all of a sudden they want to ride for the race team, but I've never ridden with them, don't know them, it's less likely that they're going to end up on the race team. It's not a specific route to the team, but obviously
there's a link.
To spade. It's going to be easier for someone to get on the race team if I know who they are and know how they ride. So,
should I keep believing? Is there still a chance for me?
Hey, never write yourself off, George.
You're only as good as your last result, aren't you?
Exactly. There you go. And you beat Binsey. So
I think we all know where my strengths lie. That's it from us for this episode. Thanks to the sponsors of the show: Hope Technology, JTech Suspension, Revolution Bike Park, Ride Southern Spain, Schwalbe, and SingleTrackWorld.com. As always, if you're enjoying the podcast, please subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And if you've got a sec, please drop us a review. Alternatively, please give us a follow on Instagram at Making Up the Numbers Racing or Facebook.com/Making Up the Numbers. Thanks very much for listening. Hopefully, if it comes off, we'll be back on Christmas Day with something very special indeed.